Welcome, and thank you, Susan, for coming and talking to us about sneaky clauses in leases.
Parking ratio is the ratio of how many cars can you park per 1,000 square foot of building. So if you have a 5 per 1,000, that means you can park 5 cars for every 1,000 square feet in that building or in that development. So now if you're leasing, let's say 5,000 square feet, and there's 5, that ratio is 5 per 1,000, then that means that there will be 25 spaces available to you, your staff, and your clients or patients, for example. And there are different parking ratios that are required for different kinds of businesses. And there are different parking ratios that cities require that, that you have in your building in order to get the zoning approved and for the plans to be approved. So for example, the minimum parking ratio for a medical office is 5 per 1,000. Ideally, we want to see 6 or more. Mm-hmm. 5 is the minimum. And 5, depending on the kind of medical business that's going in there, can be tight. So if it's a family practice, now this is before the era of COVID. And that brings up a whole nother question, is how are parking ratios going to be, how are they going to be impacted? But
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. So I just thought of it. That would have been a good thing to put on our list, right? Anyway, parking ratios. So 5 per 1,000. If you're a family practice, then you're scheduling appointments every 10 minutes. And so chances are, we're all waiting in waiting rooms and we're filling out paperwork, and then we're sitting in the exam room, and maybe we're there with our family, or maybe my husband has come also and he's meeting me there because the conversation is really important. And so, whatever, there's lots of cars there. So that's where that 5 per 1,000 is really, really important. But other uses, say you're an art gallery, then that parking ratio is probably pretty low, at least during business hours. It could be 3 per 1,000, depending on where they are. But then you need to be able to have access to parking that happen. Generally, art galleries will have events usually at nighttime. So they want to be able to have parking in the nighttime hours where they can kind of park in other people's spaces when that's allowed. On the COVID thing, it's very interesting. I'm going to come to that right now. What's happening with medical doctors is they're scheduling a little farther out. So you would think that would make for a lower parking ratio requirement. However, they're not having people come in and sit in their waiting rooms anymore. They're having people wait in their cars. So people drive up, they have to sit in their car, they have to call and make sure that let them know that they're here, and then they're either texted back or they come out to pick them up and walk them into the building when the time is right, and they go straight from their car into an exam room. So that actually does make for more wait on the parking lot. So those parking ratios are important.
Interesting.
Yeah.